Hi, this is Don at Tegra Music, and today I'm going to show you how to set up our PA Package B, which includes two 15-inch speakers. They're the DXR15s from Yamaha. We also have the MGP16X mixer that's in this package. It's got digital processing, and it's a 16-channel mixer. You get the cables to hook mixers to the speakers, and you get power cables for everything. And you also get a couple of speaker stands that you can put the speakers on. And today we're going to just, they come in bags, so you need to take those off first. So let me, I've already un-velcroed the bottom of this one. So we'll start there. And this one here isn't, so we'll undo the strap there. And there is a strap here you can just pull out and get that out of the way. So first thing is we want to get everything hooked up before we power anything on. So let's start with the cables out of here on the back of the mixer. Down next to where the power cable and everything hooks in, there's a stereo out. So one goes there, the other one goes here. This will be a stereo setup, so you will have a left versus right. And I will shoot some close-ups so you can see the connections. Then the other end goes into the back on channel 1, right at the top of the mixer, or the speaker, sorry. This one here goes there. Power cables. These are standard UPC style cables everybody's aware of, and just plug everything in. I've got a, for this demonstration, I've got a little power strip I'll just plug things into here. Get the other speaker hooked up. And then one more here for the mixer. And there you go. And as a precaution, you might want to make sure that the power switches are all off on this equipment before you plug it into power. Once that's done and you've got everything plugged in now, you're ready to turn the mixer on. That power switch is right here, so that powers that up. Once that is turned on, now you can go, oh, and also, by the way, when I do the close-ups, I'll show this closer. There's volume controls right next to the connector. Make sure the volume controls on the speakers are turned down at this point. Turn the power on the speakers. I'm just going to take a standard microphone and hook it up so we can show how this works. On the back, you've got a number of channels. I'll just plug this into channel 1 to get started. Now, the next thing, I'll go ahead and get a close-up of the mixer, and then we'll talk about how to set the settings to get standard setup. Okay, now we got a close-up of the mixer. We plugged our mic into channel 1, and right at the top, let's discuss these buttons. There's a 48-volt phantom power. A dynamic mic does not need it. A condenser mic does need that, so turn that on or off appropriately. There's also a 26 dB pad. If you've got a really strong signal like a keyboard that's just distorting the channel, you could engage that. Normally that would be up. There's also 100 with a tail off. That's 100 hertz roll off. That's a good one to push in for microphones for vocals. Because you really don't want to pick up the breath noises and stuff. So I would engage that for vocals. And at this point, I've got the sound system powered up. And the first thing we want to do before we slide the slider up is set our input gain. And if you can see here, there's a signal when you're talking into the microphone like I am right here. Signal light comes on. If you keep turning it up and talking really loud, and eventually this peak light comes on. And if you got a real loud singer, then you want to bring it back. Just bring it back a little bit below so you don't get that peak light on. And you can adjust that a little bit as time goes on if somebody starts getting a little louder. And as we go down the channel here, there's a compressor. If you want to use that, know what a compressor does. Otherwise, just leave that off. The green knobs are the EQ section. There's a high. There is a mid, which has the two middle knobs are mid, which the top knob allows to adjust the frequency. The next one is the level. When they're straight up, they don't do anything. You can either boost or cut the mid frequency that you selected. Goes from 250 hertz up to 5K, so pretty versatile. The bottom one here, the fourth one, is the low, centered at 125, so you can boost or cut that. If you're using monitors, the next two knobs are for that. That's how you would send this channel to each monitor. There's an auxiliary 1 and 2 output. The next two are the effects. If you're using effects, that is how you would send it over to the effects unit over here. Effects 1 does reverbs. Effects 2 does also some reverbs, and it looks like it also does some delays, choruses, flangers, things like that. But that's how the signal gets to that processor. After that's the pan knob. This is a stereo system, so you can pan it to the left speaker or to the right speaker, or for both, straight up like that. And remember, every channel now is the same thing. The next thing is actually an on button for the channel, so you can actually turn the channel on and off. We'll go ahead and turn that on right now. Then of course there's the volume slider, but there's also these assign buttons. So you can assign those if you want to put vocal mics in one sub, instruments in another. You'd have a master for each. For today, we're just going to make sure that the stereo red button is pushed in. That sends it to the stereo master knob over here. Now we can start bringing this up, and if I turn my speakers up, which I didn't do yet, I'll show you that in the next part of the video. Test, 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 1, 2. Oh, my master is down too, so that's another issue. I've got the speakers about halfway up right now, and I'm going to start bringing the volume up. So now I've got the PA system working. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the master section. Right here, mostly the effects, if you want to add some effects. It'll list here the different effects you have available. There's Hall, Warm Hall, Bright Hall, plates, mostly reverbs on this one. And you can dial this knob here to decide which one you want. Right now, we're just going to stick with a Hall reverb. Then each effect has a parameter, so how much and how little reverb that you'd have. It's probably a level or a time. I'm not quite sure on this one, but you do have one adjustable parameter per effect. So when you dial that in, of course, before when we said if you want to use the effects, this is effects 1 on this column, or column right here. And if you've got the individual channel turned up, effects 1, it sends it to here, it processes it. You can turn the effects on and off, so if you want to use it, it also has to be assigned to your stereo or your subgroups here. And then to actually add the effects to the mix, you have to bring it up just like you would another mic or any other channel that's plugged in. So this is how you get the level to the main speakers. There's other things here. If you have monitors hooked up and you want some effects there, it gives you a chance here on this knob to send it to auxiliary 1, and here's auxiliary 2, so you can have a little reverb in the monitors if you want. There's a headphone level here. If you have headphones plugged in, if the sound man has headphones plugged in, you could use that to turn that on. Of course, there's an overall on button for the main output too, so if you're taking a break and you don't want a mic to feedback, you could turn the whole system off right there. Okay, so right now I've got the back of the speaker so we can see it. You can see that this is where the signal cable comes in. It plugs into this first connector here. Here's the volume control. Right now I've got it set up right at 12 o'clock, which is the 0 position. That's a good place to start. This switch down here is pretty important. It says mic in line. Since we're not plugging a mic directly in here, we're plugging a mixer signal in. That needs to be in the line setting. Of course, these two channels aren't being used. The only important ones here are the DSP, which allows you to pre-EQ the speaker for whatever use. This is a front of house main speaker, so the up position makes it sound the best for that. Of course, you could turn the processing off altogether for a flat signal. And if you push it down, that's the monitor. If you're using these or renting these for monitors, that would roll off some low frequencies and make it more useful for monitor applications. We're going to go ahead and leave that in the up position. The other thing here is we have a high pass filter, which basically all the way down is off. That's if they're being used by themselves, that's how I'd recommend it. If you're going to add some subs to this system, you could actually put this in the 100 hertz roll off or the 120 hertz roll off, depending on your preference, to roll off the low frequencies out of these boxes and let the subwoofers handle the low frequencies. For this system, the recommended position is down. Of course, here's where the power cord plugs in, and this is the power button to turn the box on and off. Both of them are the same, and you can set them equally. One box is going to get the left signal from the mixer, the other one's going to get the right signal from the mixer. Okay, once you're done with the show and you need to turn everything off, here's the procedure. First thing you want to do is you want to turn the power off on both speakers. That's the first thing. Once you've done that, and let me go ahead and turn the power off there. I'll turn the power off on there. Once that's done, then you can go ahead and power down the mixer. Go ahead and unplug all the cables, wrap them up, package it all up, put your covers back on, and you're good to go. Hope everything went well for you.